So what's up, guys? It's been a little while since I've been on live. It's been a week or two. Things have been pretty crazy here. I'm not sure what it's been like for all of you guys, but if you would, whoever's dropping in, just tell me where you're chiming in from while I try to get my camera stuff set up a little bit. Try to get it good there and not wiggly. Um, Go ahead and leave comments. Tell me where you're chiming in from. And I wanted to say it's nice to see you guys again. I know it's been a little while. As you know, babies are a handful, and sometimes they depend on they tell you what is going to happen during an evening. So I just want to say sorry about that, but I'm glad to see you guys here this evening. So we got Renee Porter says hello from Virginia Beach. Justin says, "What's up, bro? What's up, Justin? How are you?" Mountain of Coin Accord says, "Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen." And from Montana, Justin says, "Coming in from Cocoa Beach, Florida right now." Oh, that's really nice. And then Chad Henwood says, "All good, bro. What's up, guys?" All right. So this evening we're going to talk about a few things. I think I'll just go ahead and jump right into it. I don't know if you saw the last video that we had, but it was on moisture meters. And I did have a few comments of people that brought up some really good points that I wanted to share. Before we get started, though, if you guys haven't gone, if you are building some molds right now, some epoxy forms, and it's not, if it's a custom form or something like that, and you need some form of mold release, go ahead and go over to goodviewwoodworks.com and get yourself some tape. It's a little cheaper than if you were to buy it at the regular store like Home Depot or Lowe's. And it goes further because it's 3 inches wide and it's a little bit less expensive. So go to goodviewwoodworks.com and go get you some and help out the channel, right? Okay, so thanks again, guys, for that. So back to moisture meters. Somebody brought up a really good point about moisture meters, and he said that he uses a moisture meter to put down wood flooring, and he uses it, and they recommend only using the type with the probes. Now, he's right. That's what they recommend. So that's what you need to do is use that if you're with wood floor, and that needs to happen. But what happened? But the reason why they said that is because the wood floor is thin. It's like 3/4 of an inch thick. That is actually the more accurate one. Whereas I would use these if you're doing what I do and you're working with slabs, something 2 inches thick or 3 inches thick. It's going to be better at finding those pockets of moisture. So I just wanted to share that really quickly. So hopefully that clears up some stuff for you guys. Justin says he's great. Dave says from Mount Hood. What's up, Dave? Justin, Renee Porter says, my mom says, Justin, we're all jealous. That's right. Jack House says, what's up? What's up, Jack? Justin says, I'm headed back to Illinois and 20 inches plus of snow on Saturday. Wow. Jack says, I'm plowing snow, but I'm listening. Dang, outside, that's pretty cool. Jonathan says, Northern Michigan. Yeah, me and my wife have 7, and the youngest is 9 months. Wow. Dang, Jonathan, that is crazy. 7 kids. Youngest is 9 months. How old is the oldest? So, yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys had a good week so far. We actually had a little bit of snow. Power went out only for like 30 minutes or so, but we had a lot of people, some friends with trees down and things like that recently. So luckily we haven't been out of power. But if I live out in the country, and what's weird is I rarely have cell signal, and internet service is terrible, and somehow we still we don't go out of power. It's really weird. I think I've lived here almost 6 years, coming up on 6 years this year. We've been out of power maybe one time. that has been more than 30 minutes or something like that. So it's been really, really cool. So Chad Hinwood hit us up with a super chat. Thank you so much, Chad. I really appreciate it. Chad has really been supportive of the channel, and I thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So right now, this is Shop Talk Tuesday Live. What this is if you guys have any questions about epoxy or woodworking or even business stuff, if you are a small business owner and you want to ask me some questions, feel free to do so. And we will get to answering these questions and just hanging out and talking shop, right? Shop Talk Tuesday. Justin says, what's a super chat? So, Justin, if you look at the chat section, right here at the bottom of the screen, you'll see you can type something, say something, and there's a smiley face or a money symbol, or you can create a poll here. So there's these three things that you can click at the bottom. A super chat, what it is it allows you to post a comment or an emoji like you see here on the screen. I don't know if you can see it or not in the comments, but you send in a few bucks, and it'll keep your comment posted at the top of the screen for a certain amount of time, depending on how much you donate. So that's what a super chat is. It's really there for the viewers to support me, Good View Woodworks, or any other creator that you choose to support. That's what super chat is for. So I recommend, if you want to, like if you had a website or something you wanted to post up there, feel free, hit it up with a super chat, or you have a question that you don't want to get passed up, that'd be another good way to do that. If not, that's okay. I'm going to do my best to get to the I'm going to get to all the questions. So Justin, I really appreciate that. He put super chat in exclamation point. So hey, thanks Justin. Thank you so much. So Coleman says hello from Montana. Jamie Webb says, hey Nate from the UK, loving your videos. Hey, I really appreciate that. And Jonathan says his oldest kid is 18. Wow, 18 to 9 months. That is crazy. I have a half brother and a half sister. I have half brother 17 years younger than me, and I have a half sister that's 19 years younger than me. So from the kid's perspective, I understand. So guys, once again, time is open for some questions. Now, I will say on the last Shop Talk Tuesday, we went over a few things where I said I was going to create some polls, especially over on the Patreon page. But I think what we'll do is we'll create it on YouTube. And from now on, instead of just a talking head and some questions, I'm going to try my best to, we'll make a poll and we'll see what you guys want me to put in the epoxy, whether we do like pigments and we just do battle of the blues, where you guys choose a blue color you want to see, or you choose to put all the blues together in one and see what color it turns out to be, something like that. Last week we had somebody say they would like to see a bath bomb in epoxy, which I think would be really cool. However, obviously it's going to waste a lot of epoxy, right? Because bath bombs are like big. If you drop it in something and it's not fully submerged, it might not work as well. But we had that. We had somebody send me a beehive, like a huge beehive to put in epoxy. I still want to do that, turn it down on the lathe. But we may have to try to start with something smaller, like maybe like a wasp nest or something like that. Somebody said to throw that in there. Somebody said a pickle. A pickle. I don't know if I'd put a pickle in the epoxy just because it would still be wet when you cut into it. But something that could soak up epoxy would be good. I heard somebody say blue jeans, that material. Really anything that would soak up some epoxy would be the best. Anything porous. So we're going to leave that up to you. And I think when I get off live stream tonight, go check out the channel. I will post a poll, and we'll choose a few things. I may just post a comment and see what you guys want, and then maybe choose 3 things from the comments and then post the poll later on in the week. Maybe I'll do it like that, but I want to get you guys interacted, and maybe we might be able to come up with something pretty cool, something that somebody else hasn't done yet, or maybe we'll start a trend. Who knows? That's the goal. So Jay Thomas says, you guys see the viral video of the epoxy hot dog? No, I haven't. if Jay Thomas, I don't know if you have Instagram or Facebook, but if you want to go over there and post a link, I totally would want to see that. Or you could post a link right here. So yeah, sorry for the yawn, guys, but yeah, that'd be really cool. I did have a question recently about clamping. I had a couple of people actually ask me this question this week. Now, if you guys have ever epoxied anything or put them in a mold, people say they have a hard time clamping the wood into the mold. Now, I wish I had something to show you right here, how to clamp something, but really what it is, the easiest way would be to get a couple of blocks and lift your form up off the table, which gives you a gap to slide the clamp under and clamp your pieces down to the form. That's the best way I would foresee clamping something down, because one of the guys over on the Facebook page had an issue with he tried to hot glue the slabs down and the slabs floated up. He poured a little too much epoxy and they floated to the top. And he said, you know, he's just going to go get a reusable form from now on. But I will say that you don't have to do that, especially if you're not making a ton of charcuterie boards or anything like that. The best method is to lift your form up off the table, or have a table built for your form to sit on and to clamp them down that way, or have a board run across and you clamp the board down, which puts pressure down on the slabs. That's the best way to do it. It's never failed me before. So that's how I would recommend, especially for beginners. That's the best way. And make sure that your blocks that you use to put on your slabs, tape them up. Use some Goodview Woodworks tape or packing tape or whatever to tape them up, because you don't want the epoxy sticking those blocks down and getting them stuck. And you definitely don't want to have your clamp stuck to your stuff either. So those questions came in this week. Let's get to some comments. Chad says, wish I could send you some more macro carpa. I don't know that. It's a great wood to turn and for woodworking. Yeah, that'd be sweet. He said turn. Jay Thomas says, recent pick. It still looks fresh after 4 months. See Black Forest do an apple and it rotted. Yeah, I saw Black Forest do an apple and it did rot. That was kind of weird. But the hot dog stayed looking fresh. That's crazy. Yeah, so we could do a bunch of experiments like that. I'm totally down. Even if we didn't turn it on the lathe, you know, like the next week, just seeing what it looks like to cast something in epoxy. You know, who knows? Maybe we could, I would epoxy a pickle. And maybe we could auction it off on Instagram or send it out to some viewers or something like that. Would you guys be interested in something like that? I think that'd be pretty cool. Also, I'm going to be doing a video coming up of something that saved me a lot of time, and a friend, a subscriber from the group and from Facebook, Aaron Hungate, you may have seen him if you've been here before, but he recommended the Festool 6-inch sander. If you guys are familiar with sanding and epoxy and stuff like that, you'll know that sanding takes up a lot of time. But what I did was I did a little bit of research, and I found that the Festool sander has like a really aggressive mode. It can take down stuff really quickly. It's a great sander, lots of attachments and things that go with it. But also Bosch has a very similar sander, which I ended up picking up a Bosch one strictly because I wanted to test it out, and it was half the price of the Festool, and I gotta say, it made such a big difference. It cut my sand. I was sanding a charcuterie board, a 12 by 24, and I was able to sand straight from the router, you know, straight from the planer. I was able to sand the top in like a minute and 30 seconds with 150 grit sandpaper. It just blew me out of the water. I'd have been sitting there for 10 minutes or so. You know, I would have been sitting there for a long time sanding with my regular DeWalt orbital sander. It's just not aggressive enough unless you put like some 80 grit sandpaper, but then you have these big scratches to to really deal with. And so I'm gonna do a video coming up, kind of going over that tool. It's a life changer. Save a lot of money, especially if you're doing this for a living. If you're like a, you know, sole proprietor or somebody in business by themselves, is would totally save time and money. So it's a great one. I'm gonna have to do a video on that coming up soon. Jay Thomas says, haha, pickle would stay fresh, I bet. Apple has too much moisture content though. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm curious what it would look like. I think that'd be kind of crazy. Jamie says Festool is really expensive, man. I know it really is, but I will say they're great. I just don't. They're super proud of their stuff, right? I will say they have a couple tools that no one else has. Okay, and the first one is a track saw, and the track saw. Other people have track saws, but Festool is the only one that has a track saw that has a big enough blade that will cut deeper than 2 inches on a 45. So if you're making waterfall tables or anything like that, you have to have that, because if you use any other track saw that doesn't have that depth, you're going to cut through, and then you have to come back and saw it with a different saw, because it just won't make it all the way through. The second tool that they have that nobody else has is the domino. I'm not sure if you've seen the Festool domino before, but the Festool domino is a kind of like a biscuit jointer and a dowel, a doweler. It's in the same, put together. So you have like a biscuit is flat, like a little cookie shape, and it slides into a groove that the biscuit jointer cuts into the edge. But a domino is like an oval shaped biscuit, so it's like a dowel and a domino put together. John M81. Oh, Jennifer says, hey, Nathan and good viewers, happy Tuesday. What's up, Jennifer? Hey, Jennifer, I just wanted to let you know that your epoxy is going to be shipped out soon. We had a little bit of an issue with that epoxy, and come to find out it wasn't the epoxy. It was something else that happened, just with what I thought was an issue with the mixture, and I didn't want to send you a bad batch. But now that we have figured out it's not the epoxy, it was an issue with temperature and moisture, I'm going to go ahead and send it out. I just want to make sure that you didn't get something that that you couldn't use, okay? So sorry about that, Jennifer. It will be out shortly, and it'll be out this week, okay? So John M81 says, treated myself to a Makita Deros, first proper luxury tool. Love it. So I'm gonna have to look that up, because I'm not sure what that is. Jonathan Bunker says Makita makes one now too. And Jonathan says, I have the Rotex and I love it. Yeah, Jonathan. So the Bosch is like just like the Rotex. It's actually pretty dope. I will say the one drawback from the Bosch version versus the Festool version is the Festool, you have a button you push and you can just like twist off the pad, and if you want to swap to a softer pad, but the Bosch has an Allen. You have to use an Allen wrench and a bolt. So that's the one drawback that I saw. Chad Hinwood says Festool domino is expensive. Yeah, it is, for real. $1,000 domino. Yeah, so Jamie says. Jay Thomas says, I've heard a few guys say they're not a fan of the ergonomics on the Festool's handle and the safety trigger. Maybe just ingrained preference to the old tools though. I actually really like the handle of the Festool, the Rotex. The Bosch has the same handle, and I actually really like it, man. It makes it more even too. When you rest it, that handle, it doesn't flop back. It actually is balanced. But I actually really like the way it feels. You get even pressure. The way you hold it, the handle's like on the top and on the back. It just keeps it flatter, in my opinion. So it was really cool. I mean, like I said, blew me away. And I think so. The Festool Rotex, I think, is in the neighborhood of $600, $620, something like that, if you get the sustainer with it. But the Bosch was $299. So much different. Ricky says, I got my tape today. Thank you. Hey, Ricky. Yeah, sorry that it took so long. Everything I've been doing, I've been trying to get it out priority. So like 2 to 3 day shipping, and still the postal service is taking several days to get it out. So I've been trying to get it out as fast as possible. Ricky, I hope the tape works well for you. And I hope your project goes really well. And Jennifer says, okay, thanks for the update. Cannot hardly wait for the epoxy. Yeah, you should have 3 gallons coming to you, Jennifer. So either you can do one big project or several small ones. John M81 says the Makita is another 6-inch quality sander worth a look. Oh, Mirka. Sorry, I said Makita. Mirka. Sorry, Mirka. I have to look at that. Hey, Jonathan Bunker, if you're still on here, Makita makes, when you said Makita makes one now too, what is it? Is it the domino style? If you're still on here, let me know if that's what you meant. They have like a domino, because I definitely would look into something like that. I like the Festool. Like I said, it's not always feasible for me to just drop, $1,000 on something like that. If we could save a little bit of cash and still do the same thing, I'm down. Aaron Hungate says, just rocked my Goodview tape for the first time last night. Yes, I saw the picture, man. Thanks for tagging me on Instagram. I really appreciate it. Aaron, I don't know if you heard earlier, but yeah, I took your advice, got a different sander, and dude, I'm telling you, it's dope. It's dope. That thing just cut through there so fast. Saved so much time. You know what I mean? And like I said, I've used a Festool Rotex, but it's been so long I had forgotten how quickly it sands. I didn't get the Rotex though. I got the Bosch. It's called the Get 75 something or other. I think something like that. It's kind of like a, it doesn't have a name. It just has a bunch of letters and numbers. So, Jonathan Bunker says a bigger track saw. So, okay, John. Yeah. He said a bigger track saw. Festool has the only domino. Okay, sweet. Yeah, John. So I'm gonna have to look into that. Yeah, the Makita having the bigger track saw. And then Chad says he has a description below. Hey Chad, what do you mean? Aaron says noise. Either way, spend more on tools. You are worth it. In the end, give you more time to spend with your family. That's right. You know what, man? That's exactly right. I'm telling you, man. One thing though. Here's the thing. I realized that I can't be not wearing a mask and hearing protection. That sander is not loud, but man, it kicked up some dust. So I really got to get on my game with my PPE, especially when we're going to be building this new shop this year. I'm definitely going to have a dust collection system as well. So yeah, I'm going to start buying some tools. John says, M81 says, reusable molds seem to be getting popular. Any thoughts on producing and selling your own? Well, that's funny because I had this conversation tonight, actually. Now, yes, I have had that thought, and I think that it would be a good idea because I have some connections with a job that I used to have that has a thermoforming section. I used to work for a sign company that had a thermoforming section of the building. I may try to get in touch with them and see what it would take to possibly get some forms made. And then if that is a possibility, I'll definitely be chiming in with you guys to see what sizes you would want. Obviously, the charcuterie board size, 12 by 24, is a popular size. And coffee table, 24 by 48, I know is also a popular size. Plus, we could always do some oval or round ones as well. Chad says, someone asked how to get your epoxy, LOL. Okay, I got you. Chad says a draw knife, maybe. Yes, I do have a draw knife. It actually works really well. Actually, you know what? A subscriber sent me one, and it works pretty well. Steve No says, can you do a show about dust collectors? I'm trying to figure out how to make one. I made an enclosed sanding room inside my pole barn to try to contain the dust. Yeah, I will do something. So my father-in-law bought a dust collector. One of the Win. If you go on Amazon, they have a Win dust collector, and he actually said it works really well. Plus, The dust collectors that you buy, like Festool's dust collector, which actually plugs into the sander, it rolls around on the floor. That one is really nice. I use those in the classes that I teach at Woodcraft. They have all Festool stuff, and so I use that in the class, and it works really well. I mean, that dust collector, man, it sucks up almost all the dust, which is really impressive. So I would, even though Festool is kind of expensive, it doesn't matter. I think that is worth it. And I think they're in the neighborhood, some of the smaller ones are in the neighborhood of like $400, $500, something like that. Steve, but yes, I'll do a video on maybe some DIY style ones, or even if you have to buy like a kit that you put together, like from Amazon. I've seen some of the Cyclone ones. I'll have to see, and maybe we can do a video on that. So yeah, I'll do my best. And then Jonathan Bunker said round would be cool. Yeah, I think round would be cool because I haven't seen very many round ones, or I've seen one, I think, and possibly an oval or an ellipse-shaped one would be nice too. Jamie Webb says, funny that I can't find any videos showing the production of epoxy resin. Would like to know what the process is. Yeah, I think I've tried to look too. They don't really, they keep that stuff under wraps. I did find out, my father actually made a connection with a company here in Virginia that they're like chemists, and they make like automotive clear coat, but they have all the stuff to make epoxy resin. So I might be talking to them soon to see what it would take, even if they know how to make epoxy. Maybe we could work out a Goodview Woodwork style casting epoxy that would do some things that I would like to do. One thing I don't like about the casting epoxies that are available nowadays is, well, the only one that I know of is FGCI. If you look them up, they have a really awesome casting epoxy that says that you can pour 6 inches deep. That's ridiculous. But I would like to see if we could try to figure out somehow to get, even if it was like 3 to 4 inches, but most of them are 2 inches. And they generate a lot of heat, and it's only 2 inches in a certain space. If you pour a big mass, even if it's only 1 inch thick, but it's like a big mass, like I poured on the that big river dining table, I had to have an AC unit blowing on it to keep it cool. And that may be just something that is par for the course, but we will see. Wannabe Woodworker says, do you have a video with how to remove bark? Actually, I don't, but you know what? That would be a good one. Now, removing bark can be easy, but it can also be difficult. Now, I'll tell you why. If you get a tree that was cut down in winter months when it's cold, the bark is going to be really hard to get off. But if you find one that is cut down in the summertime, it'll peel right off. A draw knife works really well. You just grab a draw knife and cut it down. But I can do a video for that as well. So. John M81 says draw knife, chisel, then a wire wheel grinder. That's exactly right, John. He's got it right. Depending on the size of the piece, then sand out the scratches. And Wannabe says, hey, John, with the wire wheel groove. Yeah, the wire wheel, depending on what wood you're using, obviously if it's a hardwood, it can leave little grooves, but if it's a really dense hardwood, sometimes it doesn't, depending on the type of wire wheel you have. I found out that sometimes it does not. Now, if you're not pouring a clear epoxy, it doesn't matter, because you're not going to see it anyway, and it'll give it some adhesion, give it some stuff to bite into. And then Jonathan Bunker made a good point about the bark. It also depends on the tree. Yeah, he's right. So Jonathan says liquid glass says they can do 6 inches, and that's exactly what I'm talking about, Jonathan. So liquid glass is like the model, but the people who manufacture it is FGCI, Fiberglass Coatings Inc. And they're the ones that do that 6 inch epoxy. So I would love to try to figure out, how to get that, how to do that. Chad Hinwood says, I think 2 inches is the max of any epoxy can go before you need water cooling table or fans. Well, I don't know if that's true. I think it depends on temperature, especially if it's really cold outside. I think you'd be okay. But you're right. I think that what's available now, except for the liquid glass. It seems like the liquid glass you can pour over 2 inches without needing a fan. But if you do go, 3 inches or more, I would still recommend a fan. So yeah, you're right about that. James says, hi, what's up, James? Wannabe Woodworker says, never mind, just finished reading. Perfect, thanks, guys. No problem. Ricky says, I just poured a dining table for my son. It took 7.5 gallons using liquid glass and had no trouble. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, the one that I poured for that big dining table was like 30 gallons. And I think we poured 5 gallons for the first 2 layers and then poured like another 20 something, like 23, and then we did like 2 gallons of a top coat or something like that. But it ended up being almost like 30 gallons. It was quite a bit. James says, my dad knows from you, so I just came by. What's up? What's up? KMB says, for stripping back and sanding sides, my best friend is a Porter Cable restorer with the wire wheel and sanding wheels. Yeah, that's a great tool. It actually kind of looks like a grinder, but it has a handle here. And the wheel, instead of spinning in a circle like this, like a disc, it has like a wheel on it like that, so it spins forward, like almost like a big eraser. Roger Fuller says, do you sell coffee tables? Roger, I do sell coffee tables. And if you're interested in something like that, if you go over to goodviewwoodworks.com, head over there. Here, I even have it here see if you can read it on the bottom of the tape. Goodviewwoodworks.com, head over there, and at the bottom of the screen, you can contact us and send me an email, and we can talk about it for sure. So appreciate that. Steve No says, how heavy was that big table you made? 30 gallons. It was heavy, man. It was like the top was like 400 pounds. Yeah, it was crazy. And then of course it was white oak, and white oak is not light in itself. So yeah, it was really heavy. If you watch the video, I actually picked it up with a forklift and sat it in the trailer on the legs and strapped the legs down inside the trailer so it couldn't move. I had to do that because I had no way of picking the top up by myself or setting it down inside the trailer and strapping it down. So that was the way that I came up with it. I had some kickback on that. People like that, they were a mover for a living and just cringed and all that kind of stuff. Well, I used to move furniture for a living. I only did it for a year though. It was like one of the worst jobs I ever had. It was just bad because of the environment, not necessarily the work. But so yeah, I do know a little bit about strapping stuff down, and obviously people can do it better than me. I'm not a pro or anything, but it made it there fine. No scratches, no damage, so we're all good there. KMB says, do you have beanie caps in your shop? I don't, but I totally can get some. So yeah, you know what? I'll probably see if my wife will post one up or do something on Printful, and see if we can't get one up on the website. Thanks for I appreciate that. Steve No says, that's a tough delivery. Yeah, it really was. It was nerve-wracking. Don Mueller says, hey, what's up, Don? How are you? Hey, everybody, tell Don hey. He's one of my coworkers. He's a project manager over where I work at my full-time job. He's a pretty cool guy. Broken Thorn Design says, do you ever use reusable molds like the kind that Jeff Mack Design sells? They are made of molded plastic and you don't need caulk or build molds. Yeah. So Broken Thorn, yeah. Great question. I did buy a reusable form. I think they're perfect for if you're gonna continue making the same size project over and over. What I don't think that they're good for is a lot of what I do, which is custom one-off pieces that I never know the size of. And so, yeah, if you're gonna do like a 12 by 24 charcuterie board, it's great, especially if you're gonna mass produce those. I think it's totally worth it. Just so you know, they're made out of HDPE, which stands for high density polyethylene. Same stuff that milk jugs and things are made out of. So it's actually very rigid plastic. It'll last a long time. So yeah, I think that same exact form that Jeff Mack Design sells is a great form. I just bought one. I didn't buy one from Jeff Mack, but I did buy one from Thermoform. I think it was Thermoform something. But you know what? We had a question earlier about me possibly making some, and I'm definitely looking into it because we might be able to get some other sizes and shapes. Don Mueller says, that table is really heavy. And if you look, Don, you got some people saying hi to you. Yeah, Don's a good guy. He helped out as well. He's always helping with lifting and all those things too. He's a great guy. Jonathan says, same here. Mine are always different sizes. Yeah. Now, like I said, if you wanted to, if your business was to make serving trays or coasters or something like that where you're mass producing the same size, I totally think they're worth it. The one I paid for was about $180, and I was able to pour a charcuterie board and sell it, and I made almost all my money back in the first sale. So definitely worth it in my opinion. But since I'm not mass producing charcuterie boards, then it might sit around a little longer, but I did want to get one just to see what it was like. So maybe there'll be more charcuterie boards in the future. Probably what we'll do is when we do like the pouring the pigments and you guys want to see what colors are what, we'll probably just throw some wood in there and make some charcuterie boards and let you guys choose the colors. So I think that's a good idea that we'll probably start doing as well. All right, guys, if you have any other questions, drop them in there now. I'll do my best to get to them, but we're going to go ahead and wrap up this evening. I want to thank you all for coming out for Shop Talk Tuesday. It's always one of my favorites. And what I do is I say that I come on every Tuesday at 7:15 p.m. However, it's been a little more difficult recently with babies since we have two of those. But I'm doing my best to try to come on every week, try to have at least a live stream or a project video every week. So hang in there. I'm sorry if I don't get it out every single week, but I am trying. So guys, don't forget, go over there, try to and always check, see if I post something up. If not, you can always head over to the Facebook community group over on Facebook, and we always have people chiming in over there and posting their projects. So it's a good place to post pictures of your project and get some insight. Real quick, Aaron Hungate says, whatever happened to your Burl Clear epoxy table? It's out of the form and it needs to be planed down. So that's where we're at right now. I need to find some time in my schedule to plane it down, which I'm hoping to do this week actually. And so that is coming up. That's actually that's going to be my personal coffee table. So I think it's going to be nice. But as you know, you guys have your own business. Sometimes your personal stuff gets sat to the side. Just like that nightlight that's been sitting in the background for all these live streams. So, so that hopefully that answers your question. Steve Noah says, thanks again for doing this. I've learned a lot from you. See you soon. Or he says, see you, Don. See you, Don. Jonathan Bunker says, babies come first. That's right. Jay Thomas says, I feel you with the babies, man. Got both mine crying in unison as we speak. Oh, man. And then John says, take care, Nate. See you later, everyone. Don Mueller says, have a good night. Jamie says, thanks, Nathan. Guys, thank you so much. And I will catch you on the next one. You guys have a good evening. As always, thanks for hanging out with us. Love you all. I mean it. And I'll catch you on the next one. Good night.